Singapore. Mr. Rogers, thank you so much for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com as you work out.
Well, I'm delighted to be here, Greg, and if I can keep my breath, we'll keep talking. If I lose my breath, I'll either stop or I'll stop working out, one of the two. So
all right. Well, there's a lot of people know what's going on because I had some comments about, is that man okay? Yes, Jim Rogers is okay. He's working out, and I'm glad to get you any way I can get you. So, I want to start out with your book, Street Smarts, Adventures on the Road and on the Markets. And we didn't have any precondition for me to do that. But it hit me that this is not your first book. Actually, a lot of people say this is the best book you've done, and you've done some good ones. But you have written books with a global perspective, traveling the globe, looking at different countries, markets, commodities. You are the ultimate big picture guy. You've been around the world. And of all the people that I hear warning about, problems in the economy, you scare me the most because you are the most mainstream. You are a guy that's gone back to the 70s in investing. You've made a lot of big calls. And when you say things like you're very concerned and you're worried and everybody else should be, that to me is a red flag. What are you worried about? What is it that you see that is your biggest worry that, could play out?
Well, I guess the main thing, Greg, is that the central banks all around the world, this is the first time in recorded history that all major central banks are printing money at the same time and trying to debase their currencies. Japan, Europe, America, UK, they're all doing it. This has never happened. In the 30s, everybody had beggar thy neighbor policies. They raised tariffs and controls. But this is the first time we've had massive debasement of currency. And it's going to end very badly, but no matter what they say.
Well, when you say end badly, walk us through hold on, let me back up just a minute. The last time, and I thought this was utterly brilliant in its simplicity, in that you say if they keep printing, it'll end badly. If they stop printing, it'll end badly. Either way, it'll end badly. And I'm thinking how simple, it's like Johnny Cochran, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. It's just brilliant in simplicity. Could you describe, if they keep printing, what ending badly looks like?
Well, I'm even going to stop exercising to explain that. Right now, there's massive amount of money flooding around the world. And it's going somewhere. It's going into financial markets for the most part. Some into the world economy, but for the most part, as you know, unemployment in America is higher now than it was in 2007, 2008. And that's true of most of the world. So what little recovery there has been artificial, based on an artificial sea of liquidity. Now, when the sea of liquidity stops, the people who've been getting the money, first of all, are going to suffer because they're going to have all this free money. It's gone. And so that part of the world economy is going to suffer, which means that the rest of us are. America is the largest economy in the world. Europe as a whole is an even bigger economy. Japan is the third largest economy in the world. So when all of these economies stop having this free money, then all of a sudden people are going to scramble. Banks are not going to be lending. There's not going to be much liquidity in the system. Financial markets are going to go down. Currency markets are going to be in great turmoil. Greg, it's not going to be any fun. What's astonishing to me is that grown-ups in places like Washington can say, well, the solution to too much debt and too much spending is more debt and more spending. And that people like Bernanke can say, well, printing money in QE1 didn't work. It didn't work with QE2. So let's try QE3. These people are insane. I think it was Einstein who said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We've got problems.
So if they stop, the economy grinds to a pretty screeching halt. And here's the other scenario. You said if they keep printing money, it's going to end badly. Okay, so the other side of the question, let's say, they meet at Wyoming and Jackson Hole, and they come out and they say, we think we're not going to have any taper, we're not going to stop printing, we're going to keep printing money, we think this will come out. What happens if they just keep printing money?
Well, what has always happened before in terms of currency debasement is eventually you have serious inflation, but you also have bubbles in some parts of the economy. And people getting all of this free money, Greg, go and do what's called malinvestment. They invest the money in places that perhaps they wouldn't have otherwise. The moment a lot of it's going into the financial community, the banks are getting all this free money. So you have it bubbles in some sector, you have inflation, and then when you have inflation, interest rates start going up, then you start having currency turmoil, and it's all a mess. All because printing money is artificial. It's never worked.
I had a guy write me on the site, and it's really sad. He's from Detroit, been working for 29 years as a firefighter or a police officer. I don't know which. He says, well, we were able to opt out of Social Security, and all I have is a pension. And, of course, you know the pension is $9 billion underwater. Is this what's coming for the rest of America in terms of their pensions and their retirements? The money's just not going to be there?
Greg, it's not just America. Yeah, I mean, we're Americans, and we focus on America, but as you pointed out, I've been around the world twice, and I invest all over the world. A lot of places are going to suffer. Many pensions in America, many pensions in other parts of the world. Many state and city pension plans are underwater, but many corporate pension plans are underwater too, Greg. No, we've been living on a world of unreality for at least 50 years in the United States. We've been kicking the can down the road for 50 years, hoping that the problems will be solved, or at least they won't be our problems, they'll be the next generation's problems. Greg, no, finally, all of this is coming home to roost. We've had recessions every 4 to 6 years since the beginning of the Republic. We're going to have another one, I promise you. And when it comes, it's going to be worse because the debt has been going higher and higher and higher, and the artificial stimulation of printed money is just massive.
Could we have banks? Banks do these bail-ins in the U.S. and in Europe. In other words, that they will just take money and say, hey, listen, we're going to print some money and we're going to take some depositors' money, especially if it's not insured. Are we heading for bank collapses and brokerage collapses? People don't even want to talk about brokerages and all this counterparty risk. Is that one of the things that you're, quote, very worried about?
Oh, of course I am. Greg, it is now the law in America and in Europe that the governments can bail in, as you put it. You know, they can just take your money. Now, it's unlikely they will take more than the minimum, than the amount insured, but they're certainly going to take everything. They're allowed to now to take everything they can over the amount of the insurance. So sure, of course that's coming. Unfortunately for you and me and for your audience, the politicians know who pays them. You and I don't pay them. It's the lobbyists who pay them. And so they're going to be doing what the lobbyists say. You know, when poor George Bush got calls back in 2008 saying the world is coming to an end, well, he didn't know any better. He wasn't a very smart guy. So he started bailing out all his friends. But no plumber from Toledo called him up. You know, no school teacher from Boulder called him up. It was just Wall Street guys. He took the calls and he bailed them out.
Are they going to bail them out again while they take people's deposits in 401k plans and things like that? Is that what's going to happen? They're going to have people think it's going to be it's going to be bail in or they're going to take people's money. I think it'll be both. Am I wrong?
Yeah, of course it's going to be both. They're going to take whatever sources of money they can get. When the economy slows down, taxes go down, there are great screams to spend more money. Politicians react to those screams to spend more money. They need money. They're going to try to borrow money. It's going to be harder and harder to borrow money because people are catching on. So they're going to take money wherever they can. Sure, bail-ins will be part of it. If a major bank calls up and says we're collapsing, somebody's going to say, I know what we'll do. Take the money from the depositors. You know, we warned them. We told them we'd change the law. And then there's not going to be enough money. And so they're going to say, well, maybe 401k plans. Why don't we go after the 401? And what they're going to say, Greg, is, listen, all of you innocent Americans have been doing badly in your 401k plans. What we're going to do is protect you. We're going to give you 30-year government bonds with a guaranteed interest rate, and then you don't have to worry about your 401k plan anymore. And we're going to take your money in return. Come on. I mean, politicians come up with all sorts of strange. In the 30s, they took our gold, you know, around the world. They probably won't take our gold this time because it's not crucial to the world system like it was then. So they're going to take our bank accounts and our retirement accounts.
Is that how you're protecting yourself, or is that how some people should be protecting themselves? Should be buying physical gold and physical silver and putting it under their control?
Well, Greg, everybody has to make their own decision. They shouldn't listen to some guy they see on the internet, even if it's you, to protect themselves, and certainly not me. I own some gold. I own some silver. I think there'll be another chance to buy both sometime in the future. I'm trying to keep any bank account I have under the guaranteed amount, because when they start taking bank accounts, that's what they're gonna do. I'm trying to make sure that my 401k plan, it's actually a Roth, I'm trying to figure out a way to protect it. No, perilous times. We've had perilous times, Greg. It's going to get worse. Nobody solved the problem. The debt's going higher and higher and higher. Do you know any country in the world where the debt is lower today than it was last year or 5 years ago? No. The debts are going higher everywhere, and grown men are standing up and saying, don't worry, this will solve the problem.
I just want to read you a few headlines that came out in the recent few days here. Good people writing a post that I on this email list. I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of death of the petrodollar, crisis unfolding, systemic crisis. These are words in the title. Economic crisis, economic collapse getting close. What do all those titles tell you? Are these people just crazy doom and gloomers, or is there some real fear out there?
Well, I hope there's some real fear out there. Until people recognize that there's a problem, people don't act and solve the problem. You must know that. I mean, that's human nature. Many people deny, or first of all, they're oblivious that there's a problem. Then somebody tells them there's a problem, they deny it and say, go away. Eventually, when they know there's a problem, when they recognize there's a problem, whether it's overeating or overspending or whatever it happens to be, then people start to act. It's coming. Be worried. Be careful.
Jim Rogers, and I'm going to plug your book, because if you want a global perspective, get it for